Hi,
Live.
friends. Welcome. We're actually live this morning. Excuse us while we get our lives together because,
Yes.
as usual,
Oh,
we
and
have
I
not shared anything with anybody.
no, not at all. And I haven't even pulled it up on my phone. There I go again. Here I go. There I go. There I go. There I go. There I go.
So, while we get our lives together, good morning and welcome.
How are you guys?
How are you? Tell us
Anything
things.
exciting?
Anything exciting? I saw Chris Rock live last night. That was pretty
Oh,
exciting.
you did. Did he
Yeah.
talk about getting slapped?
He was like, I'm okay. It was really like he addressed it, I guess, like obligatorily. It
Hmm.
was just like, I got my hearing back, it's fine. But it wasn't a lot of the show. I wasn't expecting it to be a lot of the show, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a lot of the show.
Interesting.
I was also really surprised by how much I enjoyed his stand up because I never have before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I like Chris Rock.
he's an
Yeah,
alright dude.
it's different.
So,
So, what are we talking about today?
I
I
don't know, you set the topic, I forgot already.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
just know I was
So
triggered by it.
the topic I was because last night I was going through some stuff. This weekend I was going through some stuff, and I was like, oh, and I was talking to you before, and the title of today is "Take Another Step, Even When You Want to Quit," and pretty much, uh, I'll start off being very vulnerable. Everybody know I teach classes, and this weekend I considered not doing this anymore. Really. Uh, And I really considered it not doing any more facilitation because of my numbers. Like I would do classes and I'll have one, three, four, five, six people show up. My biggest class I've had was like 12, I believe. And I I was like, maybe this is not the thing for me. Maybe it's not the thing for me. And I'm going through a lot of transition, lots of transition. I don't know if you noticed this. I went back and I complained to Best Buy about this computer because if you notice my screen, I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't know. It gets light and dark. Now, here's vulnerable number two. I have a lot of entities that hang out with me. So if I ask them to stand out and I say expand out, move out the way, back off, occasionally the screen will get lighter. And like now, it just did that. Okay. Uh, and it'll come back in the dark. So I'm working on a lot of stuff. I'm working on a lot of fucking stuff right now, tons of stuff. My mom and dad aren't doing very well health wise. My wife is struggling with some things, and I've been telling my sister Lila that I need to go fishing. Well, yesterday, Maureen, the sister, helps me do my back end stuff for my business. We had a little business meeting, and we talked about. I've been saying going fishing for the longest, and this weekend is Father's Day weekend, and what I'm going to do, and I'm treating myself to a fishing trip someplace. If it's deep sea fishing, if it's going fishing in a lake or stream someplace nearby, I'm going to do that because there's something to me getting back to nature and fishing. Catch a fish, great. Can catch a fish, not great. But what's the possibilities of what I've been saying that my body's asking for? I don't know what I like. Like I'm cutting my locks, and because I'm doing this rebirth. Me and my buddy talked about this rebirth thing, and it's nothing significant for anybody else. It's just for me. And uh, last night or yesterday afternoon, I was ready to quit. I was like, I was not. I was just gonna just fade to black and figure out something else to do. Uh, I was like, fuck the entities, fuck consciousness, fuck people, and because what I've come to find is that people come to you just try to take stuff and not give back with you. And I was just like, I'm to the point of like, not you, of course. I mean, this is my therapist. She don't have her degree yet, but she should get this shit. But what I'm saying is that uh, for me, enough was enough. But what happens is it's the lack of going fishing. Now, here's the other piece of don't quit just when you walk up to something. a lot of times right across the river is the antidote to what's ailing you. And I'm beginning to realize that I'm not listening to myself enough with I'm getting and that's made me back off. I deal with this thing called space, not time, but space. And since July of last year, I've been in this space and I'm navigating this space, and it's a healing space. There's a lot of dolphin energy there. There's a lot of Oshun energy there for me. There's a lot of energy there of space. And what's happening is that I have to stay with that space. Like I was driving across the river today and I was giving gratitude to Oshun and the animals in the sea because there's something to feed. Fishing, something feeds myself. I can go fishing and I get seasick. Everybody else get, oh my God, something happened. That doesn't happen with me. So instead of quitting, I said, John, what would it take to take one more step towards you in this space? I don't know how much more longer I will do facilitation. Maybe a little bit more, maybe not. I don't know, but everything's to be questioned. But I'm going to take another step towards whatever that is. That's how I came up with that idea.
I couldn't unmute myself. I didn't want y'all to hear me chewing. I wanted y'all to hear John talking. I went to this Asian inspired restaurant for dinner last night. I have never eaten so good in my entire life. And I had leftovers, so they had to be breakfast. That was cumin beef, y'all. Cumin and ginger.
Oh, wow.
And garlic and spiciness. And I love that you explained because personally, I am a quitter. And what I mean by that is I have a massive capacity. And what I have learned is I don't actually have conscious awareness of how massive my capacity is. Like I know it's huge because I have done all of this impossible shit all by myself over the last 40 years. But I don't know where the edges are, so I frequently like fly off an edge. Like lay my ass down. Last year was probably the hardest fall. I probably spent 14, wait, let me do math. 15, 16 months, like hating everything. Just like regularly, consistently hating everything. Fuck everything I've ever wanted. I am going to lie here and cry until I stop crying. And then when I stop crying, I'm going to figure this out because obviously I can't get off the planet. I keep trying, it doesn't work. Content warning. Frequently suicidal. Not in action, but in thought. So what I've learned is those pauses are really important, especially when I don't know where my edges are. So if I pause when I feel like this might be too much, I'm exhausted, I probably need a nap. Even when I just start hating everything, which I do once a cycle. Hi, I have a uterus.
This girl.
And once every 24 days for about 72 hours, I hate everything. Except work. I really love work still. I'm so grateful for that. But if I pause, if I like don't feed my kids, they're teenagers, y'all, they can feed themselves. If I don't feed my kids, if I get TV dinners, and when I say TV dinners, I mean I went to Trader Joe's. They have these fancy like Indian shits that go in the oven. They're delicious. If I dial everything back to keep breathing, drink water, don't die, then the amount of time that I spend hating everything shrinks. And I recalibrate. But I've been on 2 actual vacations by myself, like without my children,
Yes.
in 18 years.
Wow.
In 18 years, I have had 9 days without them, 9 or 11, something like
Not
without
good.
all three of them.
Not good.
Um, I was telling a friend recently, like, I spent 5.5 years in unstable housing. I wasn't sleeping on the sidewalk. We didn't sleep in our car except for when we were like driving to Memphis or driving back here. Um, we were living in homes, but they were not ours. They were like other people's homes, transitional housing, blah blah blah. I lived in a fancy shelter. Like, it was a whole ass apartment, just me and the kids, but it was still a shelter, and all of the stress that comes with living in a shelter still existed in my system. And so when I crashed last year, I was really like mad because I just wanted to like get up and go. But my system was like, you have been like this has been building for 30 plus years. Lay
Mhm.
your ass down, chill the fuck out. So this year has been a lot of laying my ass down and chilling the fuck out.
But that what I said. That's not quitting.
No,
That's
I wanted to quit.
yeah, yeah.
Do you
That's
not
same here.
remember? Not remember last year when I
Yeah,
was
I
like
remember. I remember, but I'm
dating?
still. But look at you now. I mean, look at you now. No, it's real talk. What I'm saying, and that's what I. That's why I
I
said that
feel this
because
much different.
yeah, yeah, right.
I am still looking at the men folk.
I have conversations with this woman. Please,
Listen, I
uh,
am still looking at the men folk.
the
Like,
men folk.
yeah, the dating piece, the
Oh
relationship
well, yeah.
piece, the marriage piece. Like,
Well,
but
so
that was a massive dream for me. Like, my entire life, I wanted a husband, point blank, period. After my first marriage ended, I ended up with somebody else's husband. Be particular about y'all's requests.
yeah, because the universe will bring you some shit.
I
Big
got a
time.
husband, somebody else's.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not what I ordered, God.
But check this out. But that's the next step. Taking one more step. I remember calling my friend Dane one time, and I was just like, I don't know. And then sent me a message back, and he said, "Dude, just take one more step, just one more step." And what I'm saying is that even if you sit on the couch, even if you fucking take a nap, even if you go fishing, the next day take one more step. Because here's the other piece that I'm gonna share with somebody. Life is what you make it. And I know people are like, hey, you say that stuff. It really fucking is. I'm sitting in a building where I work with countless kids, and some of the kids in the family do extremely well, and the others go to jail, they kill somebody, or die in the same family. We're resilient as beings. That's why I say to myself, I am not quitting. These entities back the fuck off.
I think how it's not the family. It's not always the family. So I read Hood Feminism in January, and I didn't realize how privileged I am until I read that book.
Mhm.
I've had people telling me that I'm brilliant and magnificent my
You are.
entire life, my whole
And
entire life. And I grew up in a Black and Latino neighborhood. I grew up in Mississippi in like the dirt. At the comedy show last night, y'all, I went to see Chris Rock last night. At the comedy show, the opening guy was like doing state jokes because so St. Louis and Kansas City apparently are like rivals. I don't pay attention to these things, so I have no idea that that's the thing that's happening.
yeah.
And so then he started like talking about how states just talk shit about the state next to them. And then he gets to Mississippi and he's like, they're just dumb. And I was like, born there and yet can't entirely disagree. How do you, anyway,
Good morning, Brenda.
that's a different conversation for a different time. Maybe I'll go live and just rant about my home state and the stupid shit they're doing down there still today in 2022. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, and I look at a friend of mine, for instance, who grew up in the same building as me. We basically grew up together because her mom babysat me. So we were together all the fucking time. What is the difference between me choosing the life I chose and her choosing more of a street adjacent life? The
Choice.
difference, choice, yes. And I had people telling me my entire life how brilliant and magnificent I am. I cannot tell you that she went to school and heard that. I can tell you that her mama never told her that.
Right. But here's also the other piece that I'm beginning to realize. Yes, yes, and the universe is kind of weird. And I'm gonna give this analogy. In nature, this I found out after moving here and I start studying a little homeopathy. If you take poison oak or ivy and stick it in the middle of the forest, if you take a string and take the string and go 13 feet out in diameter of that plant, you will find the remedy plant for that poisonous oak. So the same for us. But if you cannot receive it, which sometimes I can't, remember you telling me about how I do SOP and how I sometimes think how I look and stuff, and you're like, John, back up. What are you talking the fuck you talking? If you're not willing to receive the information that somebody gives you, you will miss it and you will continue down the road. I'm not trying to knock that girl or anything. What I'm saying is that, but nature has this way of always giving you opportunities, but sometimes we're not in the space to be able to see it at that time. Hence my SOP sessions. And hence the last one, I can't talk about it right because I can't talk about the other person, but the last person that I had the session with, and you said something, what, a year ago?
Yeah,
And
it was.
if I did not hear that, it was confirmed last month. But what I'm saying is that I think
What
that
I'm saying,
I'm
y'all,
saying
is
that.
you want
Okay,
an SOP with John. That's what I'm saying.
thank you. Yeah, you can go to my website, find it. I love doing that. But what my point of it is I think that, and especially like the work that I'm in my office now, and I don't know how many kids I'll see today. What I always try to offer my clients is the possibility of something being different. And for me to come into office today, Monday morning, with the energy of take one more step, I don't know what kid's gonna come through this door that's gonna be like really suicidal.
Yeah.
And by just offering that energy, you don't know when you show up, and so that's the piece about us being my concept of infinite and magical, about being able to connect with each other and gift each other things when it's needed or when it's desired. But the opportunity has to show up for them to choose it, for it to happen. Just like you chose, what you're inspiring, what's so inspiring to me about you is you take the next step, regardless how tired you get, how angry how you get, how suicidal thoughts you might have. You wake up and you fucking take the next step. When the kids drive you insane, you take another fucking step. You never roll over like I
You
quit.
can't get rid of them.
Yeah, they're like luggage. They're
So that's interesting. My homeopath is also my bonus mom.
uh-huh.
And we have talked about this, and this thing with us about like, oh, you kept going. We're like, what were the options? Was there an option? Was there an
Yes, there's
exit
always there's
button?
there's always an option. There's always a fucking option. It's like when people say they don't communicate. You still communicate when you don't communicate.
That's true. That's true.
If I sit with a kid and they're a lughead and they're like sitting there, I'm like, well, they're still communicating. They're communicating. I don't want to fucking be here. I don't fucking like you. Would you fucking be
Yeah.
quiet? Can I get out of here?
Yeah.
So when that shows up, I change my energy to like, okay, I would be pudding here. Let me crack a joke and be like, let's talk about something different. We'll deal with this later. It's just like, and I think that when we look at life, like, yeah, I wanted to quit, but what really I want to do is, like I told you, I need a fucking vacation. Vacation.
Yeah, you do.
You talked about not having a vacation. I've been traveling, but I've traveled to work. I traveled to take care of my parents. I love the possibility of being able to doing that. Maureen, what's up, sister? We talked about what we talked about yesterday. But anyway, going fishing. Maureen just jumped on here. That's kind of ironic. I'm fucking going fishing this weekend. I was like, I need to do something for fucking me.
I'm glad you're going fishing.
And I don't know what it's gonna look like. I don't know if JD Taylor sees this because I'm gonna need his place around here. Uh hey
Hey,
Maureen, good
Maureen.
morning, good morning. Good morning, Brenda. Sharon? Sharon?
Sharon.
Yeah, Sharon. Hey.
Hey,
Um,
girl.
but yeah, I mean, and it's that's the piece about taking that one more step.
I actually am going to not contradict you, but it's going to sound like that,
Hmm.
particularly for people who are suicidal.
Yes.
Having been there numerous times over the last 40
Mhm.
years. The first time I was suicidal, I was 9. I figured that out. That's another topic for the future, though. But people who are suicidal don't actually want to die. Like
Right.
when they get to a point where they're like, you know what? I think getting out of this body, like expediently, would be like the best thing.
Yes.
It's usually because they've literally tried everything else. I'll speak about myself. I've literally tried everything that I know with my human brain to try. Have probably called God a few times, might have even called some things I didn't know I was calling for help with whatever pain is making me want to get out of this body. So when I say I quit often, what I mean is leaning into those feelings. The last time I was suicidal, I started plotting. Like, where are the kids going? Like, I know myself well enough to know that um, it is either going to pass, like, indulging the thought is either going to make it pass, or I'm actually going to follow through and it's really not going to matter. I have a weird perspective on death. Sorry, y'all.
Mhm.
I don't believe it's like the worst thing ever. But that like leaning into it actually takes some of the pressure off
Absolutely.
because then you start looking at, well, that actually is an option. So maybe I'll just take a nap.
Yeah. And
I
that's what I'm talking
actually
about.
went to bed the last time. I went
Yes.
to bed sad. And I
Yes.
woke up sad. And I had no idea why I was sad. But like walking around just sad as fuck and like really trying to figure out where my kids are going to go, how I'm going to get them there, all of these things.
So
My brain
so
was like, you should shake.
so
So I
so
put on some music. I started shaking and I felt better like that.
so here's the piece with that. I agree with you 1,000,000,000%. It's the choice. I have no point of reference point of somebody killing themselves or not killing themselves. I'm saying that this is the thing that I'm saying. If you open another door, I have my personal belief that I think we come here multiple times. You and I've spoken about this. I think we come here multiple times. My concern is, my concern about it is that if you don't deal with something in this reality and this life, does some of it show up from the next lifetime? I don't know. I'm just saying this is some things that come through my noggin. But what if we were truly interconnected with each other that we could actually reach out and be able to receive? And that's, I think, the biggest part of what you're saying is that we can't receive. And this has been something that when I first got into access consciousness, y'all, first I said, Dane is full of shit. Fuck him. He's crazy. But I'm beginning to realize that we're so fucking conscious that sometimes that sadness, the depression that we have is somebody else's. And we're unaware of that because we think it's our own, because we've never been taught that we're that fucking powerful. And sometimes it's just asking the question because, and then the first time I asked myself, well, then why do I have that? Because I woke up for a long motherfucking time being depressed. And what I realized is that every time I come to this building, in this building, are kids that have been pulled out of their homes, kids that have murdered somebody who's been sexually assaulted, somebody who assaulted somebody sexually, people coming to work, people who are losing their job, people who are not feeling healthy. And I'm sitting in this building like, what the fuck? And what I
Just
realized,
soaking it all in, thinking it's
so check
yours.
this out. So this is one thing that I start playing this game with me. So one day I was sitting here and there's this lady right on the other side, and we like sweets. I'm sitting here at the computer and I was like, man, I want this pie. This place called the Pie Spot I used to go to in Portland. And so I want this pie. So I remember I told you, I got in my car, took my break, drove over there, got to the door and asked my body, what type of pie you want? And my body, when I grabbed the door handle, my body was like, we don't want no pie. I'm like, what the fuck? I drove 15 minutes over here for a pie. He's like, well, you can get it if you want to, but we don't want it. We'll eat it, but we don't want it. And I'm like, what? So I came back. I walked through the building, and here's my sister coming down the hall. I said, John, do you have anything sweet? I've been craving for something sweet. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Sorry I didn't get you pie, homie. We went to the shop. We didn't know it was yours.
But my point is that I was picking up this sister's energy. And so
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that a lot, and I realize that how much of what we feel and think is ours is somebody else's because we have the capacity. So don't ask the fucking why. Just realize we have that capacity to perceive other people's shit. And what if you and here's the piece about it. What if suicide doesn't matter? I sometimes get alarmed in my office where I work, like, oh, suicide. The motherfucker want to get out, they want to get out. I'm not,
Right.
it's like, but here's the other piece about this. What if we were so magical for each other that we were able to call somebody to interrupt that energy like you've done for me before, or or you've done for other people? See, what we don't realize is because we get so fucking trapped in this reality of like thinking we're by ourselves in this electronic shit thinking making that you're by yourself or you're not one with anybody. We lose sight of the possibility of reaching out, and we lose sight. Like if I in the morning when I wake up, I feel like Xavier in X-Men. I put my imaginary hat on and I tap into all those individuals that are connected to me. Like I have this, I don't know, I've said this earlier, some people on here now might see this. My screen goes light and dark, light and dark. It's not, but it's not doing that for any of the other part of the cameras that's on here. And so I realized that there's entities that I have a capacity with. Now I know some people who work with me and see this and go, what the fuck? Yeah, I get that. And I didn't realize until I started seeing that when I start talking to the screen that it lights up, it darks up, and I'm like, and I talk to them, I'm like, if I say back off, they back off. And they come back. So I'm saying sharing this with you guys because what other capacity do you have that if you take one more fucking step and not quit, you can create some shit?
John's turning into a pumpkin.
I
I'm
know.
going to invite you to take a nap before you take a step, or go fishing, or run
Yes.
away from home,
Yep.
go glamping, take your
Yep.
ass to the
Even if you got to go
woods.
have a fucking drink before you do something, like do what I know that's not might be the healthiest thing, but whatever it takes for you to get there temper, but not to make it a
Rest.
cycle. Rest.
Rest.
But listen to your body. Your body loves you, and you love your body if you give it a chance. Okay, I'm gonna
Also,
turn.
your mind. Rest.
Okay,
Whatever that takes, whatever it means. Buy the paper plates. Stop feeding the children. They won't die unless they're toddlers. Then they might die, but you
yeah,
can figure it out.
yeah,
I know you can figure it out
you got
because
this.
mom with chronic illness and 3 kids.
Yeah, you
You
guys
you can
got
figure it
this.
out.
You guys
Yeah.
got this. And if you ever need to, if you're suicidal, hey, look, you can reach out to me anytime. I get back in. You, hey, John, yeah, no, hey, I believe that we are connected, interconnected to each other. And what would it take for us to
Absolutely.
be able to share that space with the other people in times of crisis?
Let's see how this thing plays out, as Sharon says. Make that your new mantra too.
Yes.
Bye,
Okay, y'all.
friends.
Love you
See you
guys.
next
Until
week.
next time.
Go to
Peace.
John's website. Book an
Yeah.
SOP session.
And get a session with this woman. She has some specialties up there. I know she doesn't talk about it much, but they're sexy.
I'm almost done resting.
My God. Okay, world. Okay. Peace and blessing, y'all. Love you. See you next week.
Bye, friends.
Bye.